Hey guys, Lord Sora here. As the PTR is over, I want to release as many guides as possible, especially on the builds that I have tested extensively that I really enjoyed playing. I have recently put out a video about Shadow Wave coming back stronger than ever in Season 4, so I decided I can make a guide for this and help you guys out and get you guys prepared for Season 4. When the time comes, you kind of have an idea on what to go for. This video will both have PvP and PvE options, build options presented here. So if whichever one you're interested, there will be some slight changes between the two, but the time marks will be marked below in the video, as well as I'm gonna post the build links down below in the description as well. So if whatever you're interested, please skim through and then you will hopefully get the information you want. If you're also looking for specific gameplay examples, I did not include them in this video because I have tons in my channel playing a Shadow Wave build in the previous seasons. Also, I have released a video like 2 days ago playing Shadow Wave in PTR as well. So those gameplay options, the examples, the link to those videos will be linked in description as well. With that being said, let's jump into the build guide, starting with our gear option. First aspect, on our helmet, we are running hardened bones for damage reduction. Long story short, as some of you guys might know, the DR affixes are removed from the gear. They are so much harder to come by, so we are going to try to find as much DR as possible from other sources. Our skill tree, paragon board possibly, maybe glyphs, and aspects mainly. And one of the key aspects that we have that gives us a damage reduction is hardened bones. Is very important, I think. And if you end up by finding Shaco, that can obviously replace this spot, but until then, hardened bones will be a really good choice to have as one of our defensive aspects. Go on our chest, we are gonna be running undying aspect. We are gonna be healing a lot. We're gonna have a really high HP on this build. Once you put it together with each piece having a max life, you will have about 70k, 65k life, and you will get a lot of healing back. And we will touch on it in a second, but we're also running temerity, as you can tell. That will help us generate a lot of barrier, because this is also a Shadow Wave build. We're going to be generating tons of blood orbs that will give us barrier, and that will give us cooldown reduction. It's going to be a very good combo synchronized together. On our gloves, we're running tidal aspect. This has nothing to do with our damage. It does not impact our direct damage. The wave itself, the blood wave itself, does not impact that at all. The most of the damage is coming from the desecrated ground, and this aspect does nothing. However, this is more of a utility, gives more blood orbs, keeps the Shadow Wave duration longer. Like I mentioned, we're running temerity. You can choose to run actual pants here and probably put aspect of might. It's a preference. If you are able to survive with that barrier, and having a high DR also helps, that is also a good option. Then you can have a little bit better stats on your gear as well. You can have more armor, you can still have max life, you can add some tempering options. So those are options that, if you have any other preferences, comment below, let me know what you think. But I will be continuing to update this build guide as well as the season 4 approaches, so come back and check what changed. I will keep you guys updated as I update this build guide in season 4. On boots, I am running Metamorphosis. I love Metamorphosis. Without this, Necromancers, I think, not as fun to play. This is also me speaking from more maybe PvP experience, because that's what I mostly play. However, even in PvE, just moving past, just being unstoppable is really important. I threw some affixes here: dot chance, armor, movement speed. This is all subjected to change. For now, I am definitely keeping movement speed. Armor is depending on if we hit the cap or not, and dot chance is also maybe intelligence or maybe max life might be better there. But for tempering options, I am definitely keeping evade cooldown reduction, so we can meta more. And then corpse tendril sizes, I think, is going to be really good to pull larger packs and be able to also put vulnerability on them. Going into our amulet here, a little bit scroll up. We are putting blighted to get this huge 180 damage multiplier. There's an option you can put fast blood here, especially in the early game while you don't have your temperings, to reduce the cooldown of the shadow wave. However, if you set it up right with cooldown reduction on your helmet, cooldown reduction on your amulet, cooldown reduction on both of your rings, and cooldown reduction, ultimate cooldown reduction on your amulet, on top of cooldown reduction, you will have shadow wave up all the time without needing to put the fast blood on your amulet. So not missing out on the 180 damage multipliers, I think very important. So this is what we're gonna go for. When it comes to affixes, I'm definitely keeping max life, definitely keeping cooldown reduction, definitely keeping movement speed and ultimate cooldown reduction. The last one, the fifth tempering option, the last tempering option, we have some good options. Could be blood mist duration increase, could be another movement speed, could be cooldown reduction to our evade. Some things to test there, but like I said, I will keep you guys posted. We are putting aspect of damped on top of 180x damage multiplier. We are also getting 50% damage multiplier here. This used to be different, obviously. If you're not aware, this has changed. Now we just need the Decrypify to activate this. Hell, we don't even need Decrypify actually. We can just use our Metamorphosis on our boots to roll dodge our opponents, and that will curse them. But we are always running Decrypify, so why not take advantage of the dam now? It's gonna be another huge damage boost. We are running attack speed, maximum life, and intelligence. You may ask why attack speed instead of lucky hit chance. We are gonna be running sight, and it's gonna be very slow. So I want to get some attack speed on my glows, both of my rings. I think it's gonna make a difference, especially going into those tough corners. We needing to cast the shadow wave being a little bit slower. I think it's gonna speed up our gameplay a little bit more. Additional tempering options here. We are again, like I mentioned, cooldown reduction is very key, and we are also getting desecrated ground damage here. I think we can put this one on our glows, on our weapon, in both of our rings. That gets us close to 500% additive desecrated ground damage, and I think that is gonna be really good damage boost to add into our additive bucket. Last one here is the second option of our rings. We are running same stats, but we are putting fast blood. This shows 1 to 1.5 seconds here. However, this also got a buff in season 4. This is going to be 2.5 seconds now, which is also why our shadow wave cooldown is going to be really low. I did not include any gameplay examples in this video, but link will be in the description. There is a gameplay I just put out from PTR testing. I display there that I can cast the shadow wave back to back without any no downtime. So make sure to check that one out if you're curious how it works in the game. As our weapon option, we are putting our ultimate shadow here. We're gonna be running two-hander sight. They changed the attack power scaling, so when we put the ultimate shadow on our sight, our base damage is gonna go up to 280k from 105k from previous seasons. So this is a massive damage buff, which is also why this build is gonna be so much stronger now. I think it's gonna make a big difference, and I usually don't like the sight just because how slow it is, but with this damage boost, I think it's gonna be great. Especially we can put some attack speed on our glows and both of our rings. I think it will make up for the lack of speed in casting. As far as affixes, we're putting intelligence, maximum life, damage over time. Again, we're putting desecrated ground there, and we are putting elemental surge. It sort of works like X Falls when we hit lucky hit, and it's actually stronger than X Falls. It was a little bit overtuned in season 4. I think it's gonna be nerfed going into the season. However, for now we're keeping it with the changes. I will keep you guys posted with all the other changes that might be happening. Moving down on our gems, we're gonna be running our damage over time on our weapon. Gonna be running maximum life on our gear because we have temerity. The more life, we're gonna be healing more. We're gonna probably have about 70k life on this build when we build it right. And when we have a 70k life, we're gonna be healing so much, and the blood orbs we're gonna be generating so much barrier. That's gonna be pretty much our survivability in PvE. On the jewelry, I am putting diamond here to max out our resistances, but that is also depends on our armor cap. So maybe we're gonna run skull here. That's we have to see, but we shall see. Going down, you have seen some of the affixes here. I will upgrade these as I know more, so stay in touch. If you have any questions, comment below, and if you have any suggestions as well, I'm open to hearing them. A lot of new tempering options. Like I said, I'm hesitant to commit to one or another without some testing. I have tested some in PTR, but I didn't get all the manuals I need in time, so I still want to be able to test a bit more, especially in more PvE environment to solidify this build. We are sacrificing all of our minions except one option. You can actually use the blood golem and get 30% DR if you want to run golem here. You're going to be losing some DR from your skill tree, but it's up to you. I really did not want to invest any blood golem paragon board or a skill tree while I can have a little bit more life up all the time. So it's up to you, but the rest of this I think we are sacrificing for sure, because we're going to get more shadow damage here, as well as we want to get more vulnerability damage. So for this build, I think minions are still not the best option, but it comes down to playstyle. If you're not planning on fully min-maxing, I think you can incorporate minions into this build as well. Alrighty, let's talk about our skill tree. We are taking Decompose here. Decompose got a nice little buff. It is now 1 second instead of 1.5 seconds, and then mechanically how it works has changed. You need to proc an explosion, and all the other bonuses are linked to the explosion. And it's another source of vulnerability. It is sort of a nice to have. You won't be sitting there channeling this so much, but against bosses, you can channel this one, proc vulnerability, proc a corpse, and then start the fight that way, and then shoot your wave and all that above. Because our main wave, we're going to be spamming shadow wave all the time, but here and there we can channel Decompose to proc vulnerability if you need to versus single target, or even AoE. This vulnerability now applies in AoE when the explosion procs. And secondly, we have to spend this 3 points, so we're taking Hewed Flesh here. However, the Hewed Flesh and Decompose do not interact with each other. They believe it is to be bugged. The Decompose do not proc Hewed Flesh from its lucky hits. However, there is a weird mechanic happened in PTR that elemental surge procs from Decompose from other sources. The tempering option that we have on our weapon is able to proc corpses from Hewed Flesh. I think it's a bug mechanic. It probably will get patched, but for now we are using it and see what happens in season 4. If it gets patched, I'll keep you guys posted, but even then there's not much to do here. We have to spend these points to get to the next segment. Here we're taking all the blood mist options, ghastly blood mist to generate corpses as well, and we are taking spiked armor to additional armor. We're taking all the corpse explosions here to have more pools on the ground to generate more lucky hits. Going down, we do not use any essence in this build, and so we're saving these points for somewhere else. Here we're pretty much getting all the key passives except the minion ones. Movement speed, like I mentioned, DR is rare, so we're taking Death's Embrace. We are taking amplified damage, and then we are taking Decryptify, like always, going to abhorrent Decryptify. In the next skill tree here, we're taking Corpse Tendrils to proc vulnerability and pull enemies together. This is another our source of vulnerability. If you are really liking the Decompose playstyle and you think you do not need vulnerability uptime that much, you can put the 35% chance to drop blood orbs. However, like I mentioned, you're going to be casting wave all the time. You're going to have tons of blood orbs at your disposal, so I still prefer vulnerability uptime here. We are taking Gruesome Mending for extra healing, and we are taking this passive here. Actually, sorry, this is a mistake. We're taking Transfusion here because even though we have an extra point, I didn't want to put into Crippling Darkness. It is sort of a useless passive in my opinion. Just 1 point is, I think, enough. Won't be benefiting much. I was either gonna put it there or put it here, or put it into Corpse Tendrils to reduce its cooldown. But this is a really nice little thing to have. If it procs, you get another Blood Orb. You can choose to put this one somewhere else if you have any other preference. But Gruesome Mending is really good here. So going into here are Darkness passives. Reaper's Pursuit, gonna get movement speed, very important. Gloom, big damage boost. And Terror, big damage boost as well. I think Crippling Darkness is okay just to put 1 point to get another instance of shadow damage, so we can get our black stacks faster. Going to Bloodway, obviously we're taking all the way, taking all the passives here. Standalone for DR and Memento Mori. And last but not least, we're taking our key passives, a passive as Shadow Blight. Alrighty, let's start getting into the PvP version of the Shadow Wave build, starting with our aspects. Again, we're running aspect of Hardened Bone. We need DR. DR is really hard to find. Long story short, we need every kind of DR we can get. Aspect, skill tree, wherever we can find DR. So we are running this one. Ideally, we will want to run Shaco here, but in the meantime, we can make do with the aspect of Hardened Bone. Another change here, the first change actually with the from PvE build. In PvP build, we're gonna be running Exploiters because a lot of players in PvP are gonna be unstoppable and we want to do more damage to them. So we're running Exploiters aspect to get another 40% damage multiplier. We are running Tidal on our glows as a utility option. The damage, we don't care about it because it doesn't change anything about our Shadow Wave damage, only impacts the direct damage. If you have listened to PvE version of the build, it gets sort of repetitive, but in case you guys don't know, it doesn't work with the wave portion of the damage. So just using it as an utility, very important to generate more blood orbs, the longer duration of the Shadow Wave on the ground. We are running Undying aspect as on our pants to be able to sustain the fight. Maybe there will be some other options we're gonna go for here. Maybe aspect of might be great here, especially you find yourself in fights where you can't cast much. You're always on your toes. You're always trying to stay in Blood Mist or cast the Shadow Wave. In those situations, aspect of might be better. But we will see. Also, maybe we can run Crowded Sage with increased dodge chance. So there are some options we will test and see what works better in Season 4. But for now, I'm putting Undying aspect here just because we used to run it in the past seasons and it worked out great for us. On the boots, obviously no brainer. We are running Metamorphosis. This is everything to us. Without Metamorphosis, playing Necromancer is not just as fun. So we're gonna have this one. We're gonna be running, I put dodge chance here, armor, movement speed. These are subjected to change. I know for sure that I'm gonna be running attacks reduce awaits cooldown. That's for sure as the prefix. Then I'm gonna be also running evade cooldown reduction. Those things are gonna be for sure on my boots, and then for sure also movement speed as well. But I need some more testing, and like I mentioned previously in the video, as I know more about these affixes, as I test more, you guys will be the first one to know. I will immediately update this build guide to its final form. Going into our amulet, we are putting Ultimate Shadow here to get the nice damage boost to our Shadow aspect, Ultimate Shadow aspect. You may question why not put Blighted in there. I have tested it. With the base damage being higher, it actually nets more damage here compared to Blight being on the amulet. So we are putting Ultimate Shadow on the amulet. Affixes you can see here: max life, cooldown reduction, movement speed, and ultimate cooldown reduction. These 4 ones I am for sure set on. We're gonna think about the 5th one later. I think we have few options there. Could be cooldown reduction to our evade again, could be more movement speed, could be armor, could be blood mist duration increase. There's really good options. I think I am struggling to pick one, but once I do pick one, I'll let you guys know and I will update this build planner. Going into a Cursed Touch. I really like a Cursed Touch for PvP. I feel like in PvE we can get away without it, but in PvP we are struggling to have an uptime of vulnerability. So I really like having a Cursed Touch here. You dodge through the enemy and you curse them with Metamorphosis, and they are perma-vuln for rest of the fight as long as you stay in range. So I think it's really good. We are in attack speed, maximum life, intelligence, ultimate cooldown reduction, and desecrated ground damage. I think these are all good. Maybe instead of attack speed, we might run lucky hit chance. Since we're gonna be running wand, we're gonna be attacking fast already. So some option to consider there, but something for us to test. We are in a fast blood, absolutely must have. Maximum life, attack speed, or lucky hit chance again. Intelligence, same as ultimate cooldown reduction. Desecrated ground damage. If you have not seen already, I have released a gameplay video. Go check that out and you will see how short of a cooldown my Shadow Wave has. Almost there's no downtime. So that's due to stacking ultimate cooldown reduction wherever we can get. On our offhand, we are on a max life damage reduction. I'm not sure if there's a damage reduction on focus, but this planner shows one. If there's not, we'll find a replacement for that. But for now, these are the stats, and there will be more cooldown reduction, obviously. So I will update the planner based on some of the most optimal affixes on gear. Going into our main hand, I will really love to have Doombringer here. I think it's going to be really good again. If not, in the meantime, we're going to be having Blighted Aspect, Intelligence, maximum life damage over time, Wand as our weapon choice. And then we're going to have Desecrated Ground damage as well as Elemental Surge to have sort of an X-File. This just works like an X-File. It's even better. I think it's going to get nerfed in Season 4. It's a little bit too strong, but until we know something, this is what we're going to go for. Gems, we're going to be going all resistances. We need to check our stats, but I want to go for this now. Depending on where we are on our armor cap. If you're capping armor at 9200, we're gonna go all resistances on our jewelry to max out our resistances. On the armor, we definitely go on a maximum life. On our weapon, we're going damage over time. We're gonna talk about the skill tree, but this is what the bar is gonna look like. We're gonna have Bone Prison compared to PvE version, no tendrils, but we'll get there in a second. Our sacrifices, we're sacrificing everything. Getting more shadow damage, getting more vulnerability, same as before, and then we are getting more life here. I tested the golem a lot. I think it works great in certain situations, but unless you really spec for it, it dies a bit quick in PvP. So do you really want to commit all the Paragon board changes, invest into all the Paragon board changes and skill tree changes to make Golem survivable and also do damage while also losing your damage from your own Shadow Wave? I just could not justify it, but there might be something to discover here. We'll see what we can do. Let's talk about the skill tree here. We're starting with Decompose. It got a nice little buff. The channeling time is down to 1 second from 1.5 seconds. Only half a second, but it makes a difference. You can channel this one a little bit more comfortably now and then proc vulnerability on the target. It does help. Sometimes I shoot the wave. I know the opponent can't come in the wave, so I will just stay there and channel this. Make sure they're vulnerable. And then I will have my second wave ready, so then I will shoot the wave again while they're vulnerable. But we also run the Curse Touch. You can replace a Curse Touch if you like this play style. That will free up an aspect slot. But this guarantees we have more vulnerability options throughout the fight. We will also have Bone Prison below as well that we're going to touch on, which is another vulnerability option for us. Going down, we're taking Hued Flesh. I mentioned before, but mentioning again, Decompose is not working with Hue Flesh. It does not create corpses from lucky hits. However, the new tempering stat, the Elemental Surge, does proc Hue Flesh and generate corpses. I think this is not an intended mechanic, and I think it will get patched before the season. But if it doesn't, it works great for us. Going into the next section here, we're taking Blood Mist, going all out, 5 ranks, and then leaves a corpse behind every 1 second. We're taking Corpse Explosion just to have more pulls on the ground, get some DR, get some lucky hits. Spiked Armor, additional 15%. This used to work great with the Cripify for our cooldown reduction, but I'm not sure if it's bugged, or if it was bugged and it got fixed. Hopefully it changes, but this used to proc the Cripify. Now it doesn't, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is for now. We're sticking to it because the armor, 15% armor, is still very valuable. Going down, we got Bone Prison, another option for us to wound the target, and you can see they're wound for 8 seconds. And then we are also reducing our cooldowns for each enemy trapped in Bone Prison. So half a second, but still decent. We are taking Grim Harvest just to get here. We are not using any kind of essence in this build, so we don't really need resources. We are using, I guess, with the Cripify, but not much. So, and but we are consuming corpses. We try to, at least whenever we get a chance, and that gives us a little bit more damage boost. We're taking everything here except Iron Maiden, obviously, and then minion stuff, but we're taking the movement speed. Like I mentioned, DR is hard to come by now. We're taking that. We're taking Amplify. We're taking Decrepify as well, and just the standard setup here. I think you guys already know. Going into the healing received, gruesome ending. This buffs our blood orbs as well as buffing our undying. So it's really valuable to have this one to get a little bit boost to our healing. Here we're taking Reaper's Pursuit. Going fast is important. Crippling Darkness, meh. It's okay if we can proc it. We're not relying on it. Just 1 point is enough. Gloom is very important. We have a really uptime of Gloom, so it gives us a really good damage bonus. Terror, you may ask why we're not taking Terror compared to PvE to PvP. Terror is not really reliable in PvP because players are unstoppable most of the time, especially rogues and barbs and even sorks, so we really don't take advantage of this passive as much. We're taking Blood Wave, obviously, all the way. We're taking all of our passives, Standalone and Memento Mori, and we're taking Blighted as our key passive. This concludes the build guide. Paragon board is going to be probably same as the previous build guide. I will make some changes. I will work on a little bit more, and once I do that, I will also put this in build guide. You will see as well. But I think this is it for now. Another honorary mention before we end the video I would like to say is that there's a world you can go two-hander sight. That's what I like to play sometimes, especially duels. I am sure you guys have seen me play that in tourneys, or if you come by me in the open world as well, that I like running two-hander sight or two-hander great sword. Sight makes more sense this patch because of the attack power scaling. But I always suggest people that if you're new to this play style, you can start with one-hander. And there's a world this season, season 4, one-hander setup actually might be better, just because we're gonna be able to proc Elemental Surge more lucky hits, as well as more cooldown reduction. I think there is a chance we're gonna be able to stack Shadow Wave on top of each other. So we can cast maybe Shadow Wave every like 10 seconds, or I mean every 5 seconds even. It's gonna be crazy. So I think focus might be really valuable. Another option here is, instead of focus, you can run shield, which would give you a DR and will give you more tankiness, and you can put another defensive tempering over in the shield. Can be also super valuable, but that's all depends on play style. So I think all these options will be very viable in season 4. So do what works best for you. But I hope this was helpful. I know this was a very long video at this point, so if you made it all the way here, if you really like the PvE version and PvP version, they're both similar but just some differences. Like and subscribe, consider subscribing, comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know what tempering options you think it's gonna be really good in season 4. I think there's a lot more work to be done on the tempering side of things. I'm always open to your suggestions as well. My Discord link information will be down below. Join my Discord. We have a lot of folks there, Necromancer folks. We are mainly focusing on PvP, but if you're a PvE enjoyer, I will dabble into more PvE this season as well, Pit being the first real end game challenging content. But yes, I think for now that's it. Lord Sora here. Like and subscribe. Stay in touch with me. I have more videos coming out. Minion Necro build is coming out as well, both PvP and PvE. So until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.